Okay guys, Road Warrior back here. I wanted to go over a few things now. If you look at my sturgeon in the dark podium, you'll see how this breaks out. Again, special thanks to Big Legit here, but you can get 2 from that spot. If you need the marks, look at my sturgeon in the dark podium run on my playlist. 1 from around the window or 1 from the jet ski. Everybody kind of does this a little differently, but you can get around 7 or 8 over here, kind of how it's going. You can get 2 from this spot. If you end up having trouble here, maybe get 1 a little longer, 1 a little shorter, that sort of thing. It's going to depend a lot on your RNG, and I will get to that in a second. But you can also maybe get 1 to the left, 1 to the right there. And then from here, you can go to the beach. Flying along, you can get 2 or 3 here, short, or you can back up and get 1 there. It's all dependent on how you kind of want to break it down. In other words, there's probably around 5 or 6 possible, to be honest, if you're getting good RNG. You get 2 from the middle, 2 long, sometimes even 2 short or 3 short, that sort of thing. That's kind of all depends on how it does break down and how they're biting. As far as baits, it's kind of up to you, but I will explain some of the stuff. Now, I wanted to go over something on this game in particular. Look at this score the other day. This was my all-time low just the other day, and this is how the ups and downs can go, and I keep saying that on Fishing Planet. As you can see there, my worst run ever. I felt like a complete noob the other day. I streamed this, and, it's always somebody's trying to tell me what bait to use, that sort of thing. But nonetheless, if the game's got you dialed up for a bad run, you're going to have a bad run. So just kind of moving right on. I thought the irony of this was I was in a party with my buddy Grizzly at the time, but you can see this phenomenal score here, 1,500. I want to say it's the second highest ever on PlayStation or somewhere in that, definitely in the top 5 ever scored. But again, just going to run you through this. I do this a little opposite now. My buddy Big Legit a long time ago, he likes to start from the beach. The reason I like to start over here, and I'm starting with duck muscle just to try to get a trophy out, if you notice there, but just kind of showing you how these counts play out. If your fish drop, and that's where the RNG comes into effect. It's not just the fish sizes, in my opinion. Sometimes you won't even get spawns. Your spawns are late. Your respawns won't come. All those sort of things can happen to you, and I just think that's just basically part of the algorithm. In other words, there's only so much you can do to influence things when you're having a bad run. But the best advice to you guys is when you're having a good run, you need to know what to do when when you recognize that you're getting good RNG in regards to bite rate, respawns, spawns, that sort of thing, less swim offs, less fish glitching out, and even overall sizes. If you notice, I got several 45 to 53 pounders somewhere in that area. I did get a few small ones, but overall I was getting a pretty good average. Now moving over here to the beach, and kind of a critical thing I was doing backwards. Pay attention to your timestamp. You want to spend about 15 minutes at the beach or 15 minutes at the island, and then you just basically do that twice. Now, I do this a lot differently than my bud Big Legit said. I kind of just reverse things, and I'm just hedging my funds, starting at the island in the event that I do have bad carp run. At least, hopefully, my sturgeon will make up for it. And again, you can follow along here. So I get two of them long. So I try to get the 2 long sturgeon out first. Also, I've made up a mix here. It's basically a smaller mix that can definitely do different things for you. If you look here, this is basically a slimmed down version of my Lake Placid. Feel free to pause that or whatever. I have a Cali warm and a Cali cold. Even though it's sunny, it's kind of cold. I do think that helps you. But again, guys, heavy disclaimer, if the computer is against you, it's just against you sometimes as well. But I'm just showing you what I did here. I'm walking you step through step. So I did throw out the entirety of this, but paying attention to my timestamp, I'm way ahead of time here. I want to be back over here at the 45-minute mark, so I'll fish this until around 30 minutes. But I wanted to be able to spot this out. It only takes me approximately 4 minutes, so that does save me a little bit of time. So, and nonetheless, I do go through here, and I want to say I got 5 unique carp, even off the smaller mix. Again, that's just going to be part of the RNG. You might just get swim offs, you'll see them, that sort of thing. Again, keep with it, guys. That's all you can do, is to keep trying. Eventually the computer will be in your favor, but again, if you're not getting that luck, it's very, very discouraging. But again, just to show one side to the other, if you guys just seen, that was the worst 500 point score I'd ever put up. I want to say sturgeon in the dark the other day when I ran it. That is, I did better than that the very first time I played in it. I didn't even know what I was doing. So that just goes to show you. But again, also look at these closely. If you're getting plenty of carp, fish it out. Just know that the time stamp wise, I got it around another 4 or 5 minutes here, and then that's just when I'm going to leave. You might get a common carp or two, but just paying more attention to the time than what your actual fish are. Now, you're only going to get 2 to 3 sturgeon. I think on my first lap, I only end up getting 2 sturgeon, but look at all my carp coming, even on my smaller Lake Placid mix. Again, you might have to adjust these things depending on what the peak is. Also, Again, I can't say this enough. If you're having bad RNG, I don't care what competition you're playing in. Even if you got a solid mix, sometimes the game is just going to say no, no, no. And that's something you just got to prepare yourself for. They do have to hand out winners and losers. That is the part of the game that will frustrate you. But again, just if you stick with it, guys. Now moving on here to lap 2. Again, I'm staying with this duck muscle here, and I'm just kind of showing you why. You can get a trophy carp or two here, and just showing you a bad thing there too. Duck muscle. Look at this. There's a little bit of bad RNG. Boom, go right back to cut bait. And that's where you kind of got to know where you can influence things, so to speak. I did want to get, those 20 pounds you could get, and sometimes I've got 2 trophy carps, so I usually lead with duck muscle there, and then I'll go either whatever your go-to is, whatever your go-to is. If you like crayfish, whatever you want. You'll find, I don't think the bait is as relevant as long as you're not getting blockers. As I throw right back out here again, just showing you kind of what the good RNG will look like for you. Oddly enough, my buddy Zat was having a good run on this, and his game kind of glitched out. But this whole lobby, I think Jamie, whatever, I can't remember, Jamie Gigahertz, my apologies for my stuttering right now, but another really good player was actually in this lobby, and it was a little slow for him as well. But as you can see, even in this spot, I like spawn sack sometimes, but you can actually get a Chinook salmon over here if you miss on this left side, so keep that in mind. And also I've got over here on the short spot, you're going to want to use duck muscle. But again, paying attention to that timestamp, I'm ahead of schedule. I'm ahead of schedule. So in my mind right here, you got to be able to adjust what you're doing. And so I'll show you in a second what I do. At this moment, I got both the long sturgeon out again as you're following along. So that's going to give me a little longer time. It's going to take me around 6 minutes. So I will go ahead, and this is just a slimmed down version of my Lake Placid. So I went ahead and mixed up my Lake Placid in this situation just because I know that I'm aware that I have more time following along. So if you're behind, maybe you throw out a smaller mix. If you look like you got plenty of time, why not go ahead and just go for the gusto? And that's exactly what I did, as I put out my Lake Placid in its entirety this time. That worked the first time. Hopefully it works the second. You might have some weird variances where you might have to do 2 different mixes in this. Just paying attention, as long as the weather don't change too awful much, you should be able to throw the same mix out. Sure enough, I do throw this out. I'm sitting over here with around, say, was it 1,100 pounds. Again, the timestamp there, I'm going to have 8 minutes to fish this out with around 6 minutes to spot. So it is important that you pay attention to that 15-minute mark both times that you're over here spotting. Because if it takes you X amount, as soon as that, no matter how much you throw out, as soon as that first spod canister hits the water, you have also, side note there, look, if you're having trouble getting that in, set it down on the bank briefly, then pull the carp or the sturgeon in. Again, just kind of paying attention. Obviously, I'm stuck. This is where I'm going to be no matter what happens. Now, I've had really good runs like this before, and you guys will find this too. Maybe your first run on carp works good. The second round carp doesn't, and that will happen to you. But to put this complete thing together, it's kind of what you got to prepare yourself for. So I hope this does, put you in a situation. The comical part is, Jamie there's in the chat saying, "Come on, Road," he's written me on, which is an awesome thing. So I appreciate that, Jamie. But little did they know, they don't realize I'm still going here, and at this moment I'm saying I hope my carp hit. Because I just spotted out. Now, if my carp hit, I know for me it's going to be a record-breaking run as far as my PB in this thing. So, again, I'm just going to let the rest of this play out, and you kind of just watch this here. As you can see, I'm getting a trophy carp, and again, just knowing that this can cycle out. So sometimes, it's more important to pay attention to your time, especially on your first spot over here, whether you want to start at the beach, go to the island, then back to the beach, or so on and so forth. No matter which way you do it, for me, I've just had better odds of not getting that real low score if I start at the beach. But again, this thing will keep evolving, I think, as we go. This was without even blending in any striped bass or Chinook, or even maybe going for a stillhead, that sort of thing. But it's possible these scores could eventually evolve to 16, 17, 1800. You just never know. As we keep playing, we'll get better and better. But this should give you a nice blueprint of what to do. And again, you guys are going to have ups and downs. You're going to have really bad runs. And in this case, I had a really good run. I hope this helps you guys out in the future. And take care. And we will see you again in the next one.